here's the card we're going to be making. So it's quite an unusual shape card because it folds out like this. And then on the back of the card I've stamped a row of a little wavy line of hearts, and I was imagining that you might like to write your message along the little line. It'd be quite fun. Right, so first of all I've cut a piece of paper which is the right width for the stamp, and then I'm sure a lot of you know how to do this, but just in case anyone hasn't done this before, I'm just going to show you how I would score, how I'd make these folds. So this is how I do it. You can always tell me in the comments if anyone's got any other way to do things like this, but this is how I do it. Okay, so I've got a piece of, that's the right length, so I'm just using that as a template, and then I'm using a set square, lining it up, and then I use the handle of a scalpel, something like this that's not too sharp. You could probably use a knife that you use just for eating with that isn't very sharp. You could probably use something like that as well. So just holding that, just do a little score like that, and then do it again all the way along. You just try and line it up as square as you can with the set square, then that's going to stop it being a wonky angle. Okay, so that's that done. Now I can start stamping the front of the card. So I'm going to start with, this is Orchid Pink, we'll do first. People often ask me what you do if your stamp is bigger than your ink pad. So you can see the stamp's bigger than the ink pad, but because the ink pad is raised, can you see there? It's raised from the plastic surround of the stamp, it really doesn't matter, and this is the best way to ink up a stamp, is hold the stamp in one hand, ink pad in the other hand, and just dab the ink all over the stamp, giving it a really good coating. I'm kind of lining this up by eye, as the stamp is a little bit smaller than the block. Okay, that's the first colour. So the second colour is a bit paler, so I'll give it a quick clean with the kitchen roll. Dab dry. Rub with the cloth as well. Okay, it's a little bit wet. The next colour is cinnamon. It's a nice soft pink. I don't really know why cinnamon isn't a bit more of a kind of goldeny cinnamon colour, but it's not, it's more of a soft pink. So I'm just lining it up by eye. Next we have bright pink, and we also have Ollie has turned up. Hopefully he's not going to walk into shop. He's just checking for food. So this is called Glamorous, this colour. Good inking up, and I'm being watched over by a large ginger cat, so he might walk into shot in a minute. Okay, and then for the last colour we're going to do copper, which is my favourite metallic colour at the moment because it just shows up a little bit more than gold can often look just very yellow, and silver can look a bit grey. So I like copper because it's got a nice warmth to it. Okay. There we go. So it's called Celestial Copper, this one. There we go, and that's the front finished. I might just, ideally I think you'd give it a little bit of time to dry before you did the back, but I think I'm just gonna dab this once. Oh, it isn't too bad. Okay, and now we're gonna do the little hearts on the back. So this is the back of the card. I'm just using a pencil. I'm going to do a wiggly line. Oh, Ollie's quite interested in that. Okay, so we've got the wiggly line, and then I'm going to use this tiny heart stamp, which is part of the Tiny Christmas Stamps collection, and I'm going to use the same colours. I think I might use an umber as well, and then I'm just going to stamp them in sequence. I'll put them up here. I think I'm going to start with, let's have a look. I'm going to start with pink. I'm going to try and stamp underneath the line, so then it's going to be easier to rub out afterwards. Okay, nice bright pink. And have that ready. I've got just a little plastic tray with some washing up liquid in to help me clean. Oh, there goes Ollie. So I'm going to go pink, and then I'm going to go orchid. And I'm going to go umber, there, Ollie's gone outside now, so I think we're safe. Umber and cinnamon. And copper. I was actually inspired to use these colours because quite a lot of the orders I've been picking this week have been buying all these colours together, and just looking at the orders as I pick them, I just thought it's actually a lovely colour palette to use together. So I think quite a few of my customers must already be thinking about Valentine's Day. So after this I'm going to show you how I make envelopes when I make handmade cards, and do let me know in the comments if anyone else has got any other little techniques they use to make envelopes, because I've just kind of figured this one out myself, so I'm sure there's other ways to do it as well. I've done a few designs recently for all over patterns, and the all over patterns, they're really nice for the inside of an envelope and also for wrapping paper. Depends how much you want to write inside your Valentine's card, because if you want to write a massive long poem or something, you might not want to do this part, but if you just got a few lines you want to write, then I thought it was quite sweet to have the row of hearts. One thing I found when I was making this card before was I folded the card a bit too quickly after doing this stamping, and then the copper, you can see here, the copper printed itself. So my top tip would be make sure you let it dry properly before you fold it up. So I think we'll just leave this one flat to dry. Nearly there. And then I'll show you how to make the envelope. There we go. So I'm going to leave that for a bit to dry. And now we can get on with making the envelope. So this is what we're going to make. So we just need a piece of paper that's the right size, which, let's see if it's this bit. So you can take your card, that's the one. Yeah, I think this is the right bit of paper. So I've cut a piece of paper which is big enough to be an envelope. So it just needs to have a little gap in each corner around so that it's going to fold over to make an envelope. So this is how I tend to do it. This bit of paper, I think it's the same size as well. So I'll put that bit of paper in the middle. I'm sure there's another way to do it that was probably make your envelope a little bit more accurate than this, but this kind of works for me. So I've got my piece of paper. And now I'm going to score some lines again, like we did before, which is just a tiny bit bigger than the card, so the card will fit inside, but not too much bigger. And then I'm going to score, so we'll leave that there. Get the ink pads out of there. It's just about, I'm making this about 3mm bigger than the card on each side. Okay. So you want to make sure you have these corner bits. You see these four corners? They show me that this is big enough, because that's where it's going to fold over on itself. Okay. So I'm going to have a piece of paper to work on. Like that. And this design is a little bit directional, so this is going to be the flap of my envelope, the top flap, and I want the hearts to go the right way up, so that's why I'm not stamping like that, I'm stamping like this because that's the top of the envelope. I'm going to use the copper. I've still got Toki on her bed making groaning noises, and we've also got Bear at the other end of the table, but I think she's going to stay where she is. But if you hear strange groaning, then that's my elderly Labrador. So, plenty of ink. And then we're going to start at the top in the middle. You always need to press quite hard with these big stamps. Okay. This stamp isn't completely easy to line up, but you just have to do it as best you can, really. So I have designed it in repeat, so if you line it up you can get it spot on, but it's not massively easy to line up, I'm afraid. Just give it my best shot. That wasn't too bad. So you almost could arguably say that you could just stamp the bits that you know you're going to see, which I suppose is like the top half. So maybe we'll just stamp that. A bit of paper there. Okay, I think that is all I'm going to actually be able to see. So I think that's probably enough stamping. So when this is dry, you just need to fold in like that. You need to fold all those edges in, but make sure you leave that to be completely dry, or you're just going to smudge it all. So you can see with this one, you can just get a Pritt stick and Pritt stick along there, and then stick it down. Because this paper is quite heavy cartridge paper, I was finding that the best thing to do is to put a little bit of weight, stick it down, put a bit of weight, and then with this you can either Pritt stick it again, or you could use some washi tape or something if you want to use some decorative tape, or another way would be double-sided tape. So that's that done, unless you wanted to do any decoration on the front, which I'm going to show you on the next card, I think. So the only other thing that would be left to do with this one, once it's all dry, is I'd just get a rubber and rub out the line. But it's not quite dry yet, so I'm not going to rub it out yet. So let me know in the comments how you get on with this one. I just thought it was quite a fun idea for a slightly different shape for a Valentine's card. Where is it? Here it is. And with the little envelope to put it in, I think that makes a really lovely card. And that copper is just so pretty.